My Impact review show, the last show before lockdown. Now before I get started, I wanted to say this. I'm not doing a prediction, but I do have a question for you guys. Now that lockdown is going to be entirely steel cage matches, what do you feel about it? Now as far as I know, TNA doesn't usually do all steel cage matches, but I haven't seen the product for very long. So you guys tell me below, do you believe that this is the right thing to do? Have they done this before where it's been all steel cage and nothing other than that? Because it does make me very worried. You can overdo a novelty too much, and that's just my concern with TNA. But going to the show, it actually wasn't bad at all. I actually enjoyed this show, but there were certain things I didn't like. Now the opening of the show was a bit of a cluster for me. I was not fond of it. It could have just been Rude and Austin Aries, and then MVP came out, and it could have been alright with me personally, even with the introduction of Dixie. But having bromance out there with Zima Ion and Austin Aries, and then they did their bit, and then you get MVP out with the Wolves, and they did their bit, and then it came out to Dixie Carter shaking her ass. And she did her bit. It felt too much of a clusterfuck for me. The fight afterward just didn't feel like it needed to be there. Now the match after that I wasn't 100% upset about, but I have two questions. One, why did Bromance win the titles back in Japan? Tokyo. Couldn't have done this on another Impact. Couldn't have not done this after lockdown. Why couldn't the Wolves come into the TNA pay-per-view as the tag champs, and then a couple of weeks or a month later they could have lost it? Why did they have to lose it at a house show? And two, why didn't Jesse Goddard get the spot of Robbie E? Now that's saying a lot. I mean look, Jesse Goddard isn't a great talent, but he's at least trying more than Robbie E is. I don't hate Robbie E 100%, but you got two jobbers where one of them looks like he has more potential than the other. Let's be honest, Jesse has more potential than Robbie E. So why didn't he get the spot? Even though he had a job, at least then he could have had something. In the end, what do we get? Davey Richards get his left arm totally ranked out by Austin Aries. And throughout the night we saw Davey Richards, and giving him a character was actually quite nice. In the end, what happened? Robert Roode and Davey Richards had their final match, and Davey had to tap out. Wasn't that bad, but it would have been better if he still had been the tag champ. That's just me. Now the next match I'm going to talk about is Samuel Shaw versus Eli, and what happened throughout the night. And I've said this already. I love the Samuel Shaw character, as they say in England, creepy bastard. That was actually quite nice. They gave him a character, a good one. He's played to it very well. They have really given me something very interesting to be caring about. I was totally uncaring about Bully Ray because of several reasons. One, he still was there when he should have gone away for several months. Two, he didn't change his ring attire. Three, he didn't really change his persona. Look at Samuel Shaw from OVW. He changed his persona. He changed his in-ring style. And now he has a character that's extremely compelling. And going up against an Anderson is actually very wise. I enjoyed the hell out of this. Eli didn't win the match directly. He did win by DQ. But the point is that Samuel Shaw is making things so interesting, particularly with that choke he's been doing. And the rest of the night, he's looking for Christy Hemme. Walks in on a Velvet Sky, which has some nice boobies. Fake or not, they look good. And I'm going to get to Velvet Sky in a minute. I will in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. But this really builds up into lockdown and their steel cage match. Seeing him laugh when he got his ass beat up by Eli and by Anderson really gives me something to really be interested in. We don't see a character act like that unless it was in Abyss when he was really hot. So this for me is very good. Now I'm going to get to the match now. I want to get it over with because I was not fond of it. 6 knockout tag. It looks like either the alpha female is just going to be there while they were at England, or she will appear at Lockdown or afterward. I hope she does, because we need her. She's not officially part of the roster yet, but I'm hoping beyond anything we need another woman there. But here's the problem. When you see all 3 of those women come down, you see Gail Kim with alpha male and Tappa. Tappa and the alpha female almost, Tappa's just a tiny bit taller than the alpha female. These are towering women. And then you see Velvet Sky, Gail Kim, and Madison Rayne. Madison is the most smallest woman. She's as tall as Tappa's boob. And the way they did this match showed them actually competitors. Why? You got 2 massive women and one of the strongest knockout female champions there is, compared to 3 women where there's only one there that has some decent amount of ability to be able to fight the bigger women, and that's ODB. In the end, who wins? Velvet Sky over the alpha female? Are you seriously telling me the alpha female, who looks bigger and as monstrous muscle as a... that's kind of going far, but China had the same physical size and build as the alpha female. That's like a China wannabe. Except I think her boobs are bigger. But she loses to Velvet Sky. I just can't buy it. I'm sorry. That's bullshit. I am glad they got another woman in. And I'm also happy they're using Sabin as a catalyst to bring another woman in. I'm fine with it. But seeing that match was bullshit. I'm sorry. You guys can tell me why it wasn't. But it was. Now, the match of... Yeah, that was it. Am I forgetting something? That's it. If there's any more matches, I'm forgetting. So I'm just going to get to the bits that were left over from the show. Kenny King, baby! The King of the Night. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen with him. If he's revamped and given a new persona, I wish they had given us this persona when he first came in. But if he is going to be basically a pimp, kind of like with the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, baby, throwing out that money when he was coming down the ring, I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, it's kind of biting off of the Pope, and he's not there, and that sucks. The Pope should be there. But Kenny King is from Las Vegas, and it makes sense to give him this persona, and I'm glad they're doing it. I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing with him soon. I also have to say that Austin Aries, possibly going up against MVP in the future, might not be that uncompelling. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but the question is going to be how they're going to promote this, particularly after Lockdown. If MVP wins at Lockdown, how are they going to have Austin Aries be interjected into his life? The Kurt Angle and EC3 segment was actually quite good. But I have to admit, in the very beginning, having him act the way he didn't act posh enough. Talking about EC3, he didn't act posh enough. He didn't act refined enough in the very beginning. I'm not saying he should act like a Brit, but I am saying that he's supposed to be higher class, and he didn't act like it. Now, I'm sure people will say, hey, well, higher class people get pissed off just like us and can act like kids, which it could really be easily argued. But I just felt like his actual persona, his actual attitude kind of showed a little bit too much. But I am interested in seeing what is going to happen in Steel Cage, and will Kurt Angle put EC3 over properly? If EC3 is not put over properly and we sacrifice him to the Kurt Angle Hall of Fame gods, if you're going to be like that, I just don't feel it was the right thing to do. But I am very interested in seeing what's going to happen. The last thing I'm going to talk about, if I haven't forgotten anything, ladies and gentlemen, and I have. I'll leave that last. I'm sorry, I did forget. Samoa Joe versus Magnus. Their face-off. I think that was the second best face-off on the entire show. Joe and Magnus have a good chemistry, and I enjoy seeing them together. Do I believe this is going to work out at Lockdown? I don't know. But I am very happy to see this. 2 TNA guys going at the belt instead of a TNA and former WWE guy. I am more than happy to see this, and if either one retains or one gives it up, would actually be very good. But I'm going to be honest here. I want to see Joe win the title because it's been several years since he had it. And you never know what type of dynamic we're going to get if we have a Samoa Joe as a champion and a Dixie Carter still as the boss. You never know. I want to see that. The fight afterwards, seeing Joe choking out Magnus, and they cut it right there, was not too bad. But that isn't the strongest rivalry there. This is Gunner versus Storm. Now, you could say Kurt Angle and EC3 could be easily the second best one there. And it can be. But it's nothing compared to Storm and Gunner. Because I see it in this respect. They have really worked hard to really build up Gunner. They have worked their asses off to make Gunner viable. Before, when he used to be a security guard in TNA, as they made him coming in, then he became this. It's quite a good accomplishment for him. I'm actually quite happy that they've done something with him. He has the ability, he has the work ethic, he has the military background to make himself really very compelling. Storm needed to turn heel. But the question I have is this. After their feud, will they reform Beer Money as heels? Because we do need more tag teams. And people really want to see it. The question I'm going to have, if they do reform it, how long will they keep it? Because it's inevitable that they're going to put Storm and Rude back together. I say maybe 3 or 4 months. But right now, the way things are going, it's actually not a bad dynamic in TNA right now. It's not perfect for any means. I'm sorry. It is not. Tiger Uno, whatever his name is. I don't know how he's going to come out. If Jeff Hardy, which I do believe he is Willow, how are they going to make him play out during the next couple of months? Because we know it's him. So it's kind of hard to say how TNA is going to be good. But I'm glad to see it. So I hope you enjoyed this debate. Not about to say debate of the week. I've really had a lot of stuff on my mind. I hope you enjoyed this TNA Impact review. Give me a comment below. And I will be releasing my first video on the match of the week as soon as possible. Peace!